Sup guys, this is going to be a tip for color neutral 3x3 solvers who feel they struggle a little bit with cross. Hopefully this idea gives you a little something to play with. And this idea has to do with quote-unquote finding useful pieces. So as a color neutral solver, like for this kind of scramble, all you would see is like, oh, blue edge attached, let's look at blue cross. And then maybe you'd see you can do like these two cross edges with L prime, F prime, R prime. You got a bit of X cross action going on here, so L prime, F prime, R prime, D, F prime, and then for the X cross that brings this edge from here to yellow being on front, which is good because it means orange is over here. And then when you do that last F prime, orange will be matching here, and then you can do 5 moves to get this edge over here for an X cross. So if we run the numbers, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That would be an 11 move X cross, which, it's alright. However, when it comes to planning cross +1 in inspection, a good thing I like to keep in mind is that although X crosses are nice, if you can do what is effectively an X cross in the same number of moves, but instead of it being an X cross, it's just an efficient cross plus a first pair, that will be better for your look ahead. And the reason that will be better for your look ahead than just a direct X cross is, the cross is solved earlier than not, and when the cross is solved earlier, then the finish for your cross +1 / X cross, because it's very F12 based, like you're just doing an F12 insert, that gives you kind of more time to look ahead in like a natural way, or at least a way that will feel familiar to you. So that's kind of why I like that. So that's an 11 move X cross on blue, and when you see an edge like this, so this is my idea of a good edge, and the reason I call these good edges is when there is an edge attached to one center, that means it can be solved in one move. However, it can be solved in one move, and it's also helpful for two sides. It's not just helpful for blue. If you notice, it's also helpful for orange. So what you should do when you see edges like this is not just tunnel vision on blue, but think orange might be good too. And luckily for us, this pair that worked well for the X cross also works for orange. So what I could see here is maybe doing U prime, R prime, F, and then L2 to bring this down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So U prime, R prime, F, L2, and then D, L prime, D prime to finish. So that's a 7 move cross. And then you can insert this pair with either 3 or 4 moves depending on what you prefer. But either way, worst case scenario, it's still an 11 move X cross effectively, because if you run the numbers, doing it both ways, you're solving an X cross in 11 moves. It may not be a direct X cross, and if you want to be pedantic, you would say, no, you just did cross +1. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Cross +1 in this case, I think is a little better. So assuming these are both 11 moves, I'll give you a bit of a actual demonstration of why I think it's better. So doing this cross, so like that, and then put this cross edge in, so that's 4 moves, this cross edge, 5, 6, 7, and we don't have to really think or look at our cross anymore, so we can start thinking in terms of F12, which is more natural. Like we would see this, so go 11 moves, and then be like, alright, time to do some F12, and that'll just kind of help your flow in general. So that's what I mean when I say, direct X crosses, they definitely have their place in speed solving. However, I think some people can kind of overblow their importance, because I think they just kind of tunnel vision on things like efficiency and disregard things such as flow and finger tricks. Because for the other X cross I showed, to get this, it basically required, we'll just pretend it ends with a D prime here and we don't care about this stuff here. Whatever. So we'll just say we're trying to do an X cross with the red, white, blue. Shouts out to America. So we'd have to finish with something like that, and then do a D prime. And because we were kind of thinking in terms of solving the cross, of course the idea with look ahead is you shouldn't be looking at what you're solving, and instead you should be, being able to let your muscle memory take over by just being confident, and with that, let your hands do the work and let your brain look for other stuff. I would be a fool to say that it's equally easy to do during cross than it is during F12, because F12 is just naturally a lot more algorithmic. It'll be a lot easier for people to try and look ahead during F12. So that's pretty much where I'm coming from, and if you want more information about that, check out my video on why 99% of look ahead videos are terrible, as opposed to that video, which is great, and you should watch it. But that's more or less where I'm coming from. So take home point for this one, we'll finagle with the cube a bit. When you see these good edges like this as a color neutral solver, don't just tunnel vision on the center it's attached to. So yes, this is good for red, because you can solve that cross edge in one move. It's also very good for yellow. This one, it's good for green. also good for red. So, and then this one, good for orange, also good for green. And this one, good for blue, but also good for white. So try not to tunnel vision in that regard. So that's basically what good edges look like, and before I finish this video I will briefly touch on the other two types of edges. So in terms of categories, this would be the best, well, aside from just like an edge being solved like that, like that's the best obviously. If you see that, then you got two good sides to check. So there's 0 movers, and then these ones which I've discussed for this video, 1 movers. 2 movers you can't really easily discern. And 3 movers, some of them are easy to see, some of them not so much. Here we have super flip. All of these edges take 3 moves to solve no matter what. Good luck trying to solve one in two moves. And then we have super flip plus checkerboard. So if you do M2, E2, S2, you just go back to super flip and then do it again. You have super flip checkerboard. Once again, all these edges take 3 moves to solve. 1, 2, 3. Again, good luck finding a way to solve them in 2 moves. It's not going to happen. Cubes don't work that way. And the main reason I wanted to point this out is these are easy to recognize as quote-unquote bad edges. These ones, they kind of just blend in. The way you would have to recognize it is you have to see, oh, an edge is flipped, and then if you flip it, I'll just flip it manually, you see that it's attached to its opposite centers like that. So these two, that's kind of the level of recognition you need, and I don't think that's really worthwhile, especially in the context of other cross pieces, because they can look very similar to, like, you know, something like this. It blends in pretty easily for a color neutral solver just based on how you filter pieces effectively. So this one can be solved in 2 moves, but something like so like this takes 3 moves. But again, that's not necessarily bad depending on the other cross pieces. Like here, you can actually do a pretty, I would say a pretty nice cross on green despite, you know, this bad edge. Because we have 1 good edge here, we have a 2 mover here, not that you can recognize those easily. Although this is one you can recognize easily because of the opposite center. Anything attached to its opposite center is a 2 mover. So I guess if you want to keep that in mind you can, but I don't think that's terribly important. But yeah, you can do something like that, insert this. Actually, I guess the smart thing to do here would be these two like that. And yeah. So that's it for this cross tidbit. I hope this helps color neutral solvers get a little bit better at their cross planning. And actually, before I finish the video, if you want to prank your friends, this is just a really funny prank to do to people. I've been doing this for years and I love it. Do checkerboard, super flip the way I've done here, and then do corner commutators, like so, etc, etc. And it'll look like a normal scrambled 3x3. But because you have checkerboard plus super flip, every cross is an 8-move cross, and they're not easy to finger trick either. If I'm racing someone, you know, unofficially and having a bit of fun and they're beating me too much and I'm feeling sad, you know, I might just give them this scramble. And I still might lose because I might mess up. And I've actually done that before and it's pretty embarrassing. But yeah, this is a fun little thing to do to people. Thanks for watching.